Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, good evening. This is Hamilton Rodriguez on the Outsiders podcast. Thank you for tuning in to our episode here. We're going to talk about today uh, big government planning, our residents getting priced out, housing affordability in Greater Boston. Today, we have two interesting guests. Uh, First, I'm going to start with Richard Zaccaro, book writer. Um, this is his book, In God We Trust, the investment business, not so much. Richard, how you doing today?
Good. Looking forward to the show.
Okay. And secondly, we got military retired vet Donnie Palmer, ran for Congress District 7 a couple of years ago in 2022. And interesting character. He has a degree in urban planning from UMass Boston. And introduce yourself. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Hamilton, for having me. Like Hamilton said, born and raised in South End, Little Roxbury, Mass. Um, to correction, my master's is from Liberty University, and I actually graduate in a couple of weeks. So thank you, Hamilton, for remembering that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Make sure you invite me to the graduation.
Oh, of course. It's gonna be beautiful Lynchburg, Virginia, Jerry Falwell School.
Yes,
It'll be awesome. Yeah.
So we have a phone number here for people to call in if they're interested in voicing their opinion with regards to today's matters. The number here is on the screen down below, 339-235-6774. That's 339-235-6774. Feel free to call in and chime in on this conversation. It's an interesting topic today that we're going to discuss. Excuse me. Housing affordability in Greater Boston. We're going to talk about big government planning. Are residents getting priced out? What is it, people? So my question to you guys, Richard first, why this matters in Greater Boston. Greater Boston is among the least affordable U.S. metro area housing. Housing costs have risen faster than incomes over a decade. Workers increasingly commute far from where they work. Richard, give me your perspective on this.
Well, of course, it's important. Everyone deserves a place to live, and especially when they are able to afford it, obviously, or they wouldn't be living there. So it's key in Boston because Boston is the center of the hub. It's the capital of the state, obviously, and we have some great educational facilities there, some great medical facilities. People come to Boston all over the world to study here. They get advanced degrees. They become doctors. They stay within the area as well. It's not so much a problem for those people because they demand higher salaries, obviously, and I don't think pricing is that imperative to them as some of the lower income people and moderate income people. So I was an economics major in college. So economics 101, the basic supply and demand, that drives the market. So when you have these well-educated people with advanced degrees that have higher salaries, obviously is going to drive everything. The price of the markets will go up. So there is a problem right now. I think there's a lot of vacancies now in Boston. I know the politicians trying to help out matters. Years ago under Governor Dukakis, they had rent control. They tried that for a while. It didn't work too well. I think a lot of the home owners and the renters really opposed that, and they put a lot of pressure on some of the politicians, so they abandoned that. But it's my understanding now that they're trying to revert back to that to see if it'll work. I mean, there's pros and cons for everything. That's great for the renter that can't afford the high rents, but on the other hand, the homeowners that are renting them, they're complaining because their price of their homes will be reflected if there's rent control. A lot of times they're pursuing 40Bs that kind of get around the zoning laws and requirements. I live in Walpole, Mass now. I'm a Board of Assessor. And right now, we have a ordinance in the town passed last year. Used to be 10% of all new homes and apartment complexes coming had to be offered to affordable homeowners and renters. Now they increased it to 20%, so that's helping out. Once again, I point out there's pros and cons to this. The pros, obviously, are for those people, give them a chance to live in some of these upper scale neighborhoods, but then the cons of some of the existing homeowners said their homes are being depreciated because of that. I think another thing that would help out tremendously is we see in Walpole where lowering the stringent criteria for elderly, lower income people, for tax abatements, Title 18s, which is economic hardships. I know we just increased the level of income. If you're single and you're making more than $40,000 a year, you don't qualify for it. If you're married, joint return. If you're making more than $56,000, you don't qualify for these programs. And then if you have so many assets in the bank, I think it's only like minimum like 24,000 in a bank account. You can't qualify for the programs, but we're working on lowering the restrictions. And it affects particularly a lot of the elderly people too. You know, they've been living in this community for years, and similar to Boston too. I'm just bringing up Walpole as a parallel. They've been living there for years and they can't afford the taxes. It's not becoming sustainable for them anymore. So what do? They have to take a reverse mortgage on their property, home equity loans to pay their taxes. They're unlimited social securities. So I think, it's a combination between the market price and supply and demand drives it. And I think it falls back to some of the political leaders too, what they can do to help the people. But as you point out, the nature of this is why it's important. And again, Boston is the hub city, the capital. Everything revolves around that. And these people deserve, an opportunity to somehow be able to afford the rents there.
Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Zaccaro. I'm going to present this same question to Donnie. Donnie, why this matters in Greater Boston, in your opinion? Let us know.
People being priced out, why it matters to me as a planner, from a planner's perspective. Mr. Zaccaro gave you guys the economist perspective. I'm going to give you guys a planning perspective, and please stop me if I'm making a mistake, Mr. Zaccaro. I respect you. I feel this is happening because the current government we have now, local and state, they are really left wing. They're really progressive is what I want to say. And as we know, history of progressives in planning don't want the people to own houses. And this is true. This has happened in the 80s, in the 70s, when they started rent control, like in New York, they put rent control on the people in New York so that they couldn't make enough money to pay the mortgage or make simple repairs for the house. So they had to abandon those buildings in New York. And that's the whole point. As a planner, how do we create more land? Because we can't build more land, right? So as a government, I have to take more land, I have to usurp more land. And as planners, if you're a progressive planner, this is what you do. You plan for your government. I'm a conservative planner, Christian biblical planner. So I believe everybody should have a piece of property, but progressive planners don't feel this way. And they feel that you put hardship on the people so you can take, what's theirs, higher taxes, ending the Title 42, creating an influx of migrants to come to the city to create a, uh, a rental crisis, a property, a housing crisis. This is all created. Traffic crisis created. MBTA crisis was created. All of because of the policies. You understand? And it all affects housing. Like you said, it's supply and demand. The less you have, the more it costs, right? And so the more people you can bring in, but he said something awesome. Mr. Zaccaro said something awesome. He said that there was lots of vacancies in the city of Boston, which there are lots of vacancies in the state of Massachusetts, not only the city of Boston, all right? For example, when the immigrants came, they were putting them in lots of apartments. They was putting them in Section 8 apartments. They was kicking people out of Section 8 apartments and supplying them with housing. There's lots of housing. There's housing that in Boston that still only has 10% low equity, and there's court cases with builders and apartment owners, building owners, because they won't rent and join the low income housing tax credit program, which allows somebody who owns a property to rent to Section 8 people and put their apartment on the market. So it's all planned. I think it's all planned to take the people's housing, the people's land, and create what they want to do is they want to create big apartment complexes on your land. So they want to take basically 4 or 5 houses on the street and just create one big unit. So that's the planning right now for the progressive planners. That's their game plan for here in Massachusetts, in Boston, and all over Massachusetts.
Thank you for sharing that, Donnie. That was a different perspective from Richard Zaccaro. What I want to demonstrate right here is basically a Greater Boston snapshot where median home prices often range from $700,000 to $900,000 as a median a home price. And basically, we got typical rents, 2,600 to 3,200, and vacancy rates are low. I believe, hold on a second. I believe we lost Richard. He'll come back on. But Donnie, I want you to elaborate on this perspective here.
So, like Richard said, it's all about supply. When supply is tight, demand is high, and that's not controversial. That's just basic economics. But what makes it controversial is when you, as a government, plan these pseudo crises, these fake crises, with policy. What do you think? How do you feel about that? Do you not feel ending of Title 42 pretty much created this housing crisis?
Well, this housing crisis, I agree with Rich's perspective as far as supply and demand. As far as the government taking land and
this happened in New York. Mondami's doing it right now. So, like, if you die, Mondami just said they're all in lockstep. Whatever New York does, Mayor Wu does. Remember, they endorsed each other, and Chicago does. They're all in lockstep. All these cities are in lockstep with each other.
Well,
and so I was saying, in New York, Mondami just said, if you die, right, and you leave your house to your kid, they don't have to pay taxes on it, right? Because you already paid the taxes on it before you died. Mondami is saying that no, that's not happening. You're gonna have to pay taxes on that house again.
Well, I personally think that's not an American way of doing things. And what I heard, I'm not sure if this is realistically true, but he was Mondavi was interested in putting a mandate where anyone selling their building has to give the city of New York first dibs on purchasing these properties, and
Mhm.
the intention of buying these properties, owning them, and providing low income housing to people, which happened in Boston. I used to be part of this organization called Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative, DSNI, and what they were doing is they were taking land by eminent domain. The city
Mhm.
was giving them land, vacant lots in Roxbury, and what they did was they got these lands and created what's called a land trust, where they control the land, build the affordable housing on the land, and the homeowner, low income homeowner, purchases these properties, and they don't own the land. So in a sense, yeah, the properties, you know, uh, low priced or whatever, but they don't have a chance to step up in life or develop equity and so on and so forth. My opinion is, in America, we should be have the freedom to have billions of dollars, millions of dollars, thousands of dollars, and poverty. It's part of life. And the way you get out of low income situations is to basically build yourself back up. You know, everyone has their downs in life and so on and so forth. Everyone's down on their luck sometimes. But the beauty of this country is to be able to climb back up, get some skill sets to jump into another career. And, you know, I get it. 40B housing helps people, you know, get into the swing of things. You have a lot of working professionals that can't afford to live in Boston or the greater Boston area, and like police officers, teachers, municipal workers. You have people that work in city, state, governmental offices cannot afford to live in these areas. So where they're going to go, and they're mandated to live in these areas, and a lot of them get behind on their payments, their rents, and so on and so forth. And it's something quite difficult. So I agree with the 40B philosophy, but I don't agree with government control on housing. I think they should let the housing market determine itself. At the same time, give subsidies to folks that need it. Okay, all this money that the state are giving, you know, different types of folks that don't need it,
Those
should
that don't deserve it.
you don't deserve it exactly, should be given to people that deserve it. You have a lot of Americans, citizens that basically, you know, work hard, but they can't afford to live in this area. How the heck are you going to work 40 hours a week, a full time job, 40 hours a week? You come home and the check is negative to what your expenses are. It's upside down. How does that work? I don't understand that. I never understood that, but this is the reality. You know, you have hardworking working professionals can't make ends meet. You have a $3,500 rent payment or $5,000 mortgage payment, and it's basically uh, impossible to survive in this situation. So that's my perspective on it. What are your thoughts, Donnie?
Yeah, I agree with you with that. It's just it's hard. It's really hard for the people, for the middle class right now. If you're low class, low income, to no income here, illegal in this city of Boston, you're fine. There's lots of programs, lots of incentives for you. There's programs that'll pay your rent. There's programs, that'll do all. But if you're middle class, like Richard said prior, before you got cut off, there's nothing. There's no services for you. If you make over $56,000 or $57,000 a year with two people on your income, you don't even qualify for. You qualify for nothing, zero. And $57,000 two people income. That's not that much. You're struggling. Those type of people need help. Those are the people that actually like keep the city of Boston rolling and turning. You know, those people are probably your security guard and your waitress. That have a family of one or two.
And they work 40 hours a week.
Right.
And they have to live in Boston.
They have to.
If you have a city job or
So it might be.
you have to live in Boston.
You have to.
I would give those type of employees subsidies all day.
They deserve subsidies. They don't even apply for they don't even qualify for certain low income housing apartments. Which is certain AMIs. They don't even boom, they're out because it's two people at $57,000 a year.
But look on the screen here, Donnie. I want you to check this out: the median rent comparison for 2026. And I hope Richard he got kicked off of the show due to internet problems. I hope he can log back in and voice his opinion because
he's an economist. He's a great economist.
Yeah. Part of the show, but hopefully he can get back on. But check this out: you got the median rent comparison of 2026. As you can see in the chart here, the Boston area. When I say Boston area, I mean South Shore, Boston, North Shore, Southeast Corridor, and going towards West Central Mass. That's considered the Boston area. So look at the difference here. The Massachusetts median rent is basically a little bit over $2,500 a month, but the median rent in Boston is $3,000. Check this out against the U.S. average. Look at the U.S. average here, and it's absurd compared. It's lower. It's absurd. The Boston median, not average. I'm sorry, is higher than the U.S. average and Massachusetts combined. So, what I'm trying to say here is what I was trying to illustrate was basically something has to be done. And rent control is not the solution. Rent control is not the solution.
No, it's not the solution.
I'm against rent control 100%. But instead of rent control, give subsidies to people that need it. What rent control is going to do to landlords is destroy them. It's going to destroy landlords, and it's going to destroy landlords, and then turn around, degrade their properties, and because they're not going to have enough money to up for the upkeep on the property. So, in retrospect, to solve that problem, the government needs to lower taxes. Insurance rates have to go down. Landlords are not gouging rents. They're just charging the rents based off of their mortgage payments, the taxes, and all the other expenses. They're in business to make money. I understand that. And the tenants are in business to live and pay their rent. So there has to be a happy equilibrium, a leveled playing field here. So, but rent control is not the solution. Not the solution. What are your thoughts, Donnie?
I agree with you. Rent control has never been the solution. What rent control is going to do is pretty much have homeowners, like probably your aunt, your grandmother, someone who owns a little house in Boston is going to have them foreclose on their house. They're going to have to give up on their home because they can't afford to pay the mortgage or keep up with the maintenance. So they have to abandon it. We'll look like Detroit and Chicago. As a planner, what these progressive planners want to do in Massachusetts to Boston is make it look like Detroit, Cleveland. If you've ever been to Detroit, Cleveland, it's like run down, like abandoned homes everywhere. They want that because they want to be able to control all the housing. Mayor Wu, Maura Healey, these, I shouldn't even claim their names, but they want to, Mandami, mayors like that, they want to control housing. They want to control the food markets in the cities. Oh, there goes Rich.
All right, I'm back.
There you go. There you go, buddy. Yeah, yeah.
I just had to relog in again.
So I was just talking about how they want to just take away the people's land. They want to make it hard for the
Right.
homeowner with rent control. It's not good, you know. That's just going to set homeowners up for failure, for foreclosures. You know.
And to keep Richard up to speed, what we were talking about.
Yeah, I heard you. I could hear you, but I didn't have visual.
So how we combat, how we fight against rent control, there's a few things we can do. Zoning, we can go back to the drawing board and rewrite our zoning laws again. Okay, there's certain towns in the city that don't allow certain places. There's certain towns in the state that don't allow triple deckers, that don't allow double deckers, that only allow single style ranches. There's a lot of things we could do. MBTA, we can work with the MBTA, get these towns to work with the MBTA so they can build more housing on their land. Because, MBTA is the biggest landowner in the state of Massachusetts. Did you know that, Rich?
Yeah, absolutely.
They own the most land in Massachusetts. They own a lot of it.
Yeah.
They own more than the government.
I know you were talking before when I was listening to you, but you didn't. I couldn't give any input of people having their homes taken away. I mean, obviously, with inflation and they can no longer afford, a lot of these homes are going into foreclosures, but the government can also take them by eminent domain if it affects a major throughway. So when they're building, the big dig and stuff, they took a lot of homes over and they supposedly have to pay top dollar for them. But that slide that Donnie just commented on and why the rent's much higher, I revert back to the same thing with the housing industry, why they're higher, because you have a lot of professional people in Boston that have higher salaries, and back to the supply and demand that dictates the price, and it reflects the rents, including the average price of the homes going up every year. So it's quite a dilemma. We discussed before some of the things that help. The one positive thing I can say about Boston, though, if you live in Boston, you really don't need a car. You have a great public transportation system. You have Ubers now and Lyfts that take people around, and the car is a big expense. I mean, look at the price of insurance even for a car now. So that's one savings that will help offset maybe some of the increases in rent.
Interesting. Let's go
As a
to
matter of fact, I don't know if you people are aware of this, but just about every senator in the Senate voted to limit personal use of your vehicle so many miles a year because they want to try to get more funding for public transportation. Now, how they're going to enforce that, I have no idea. But I mean, that's where they're headed. And as Donnie pointed out, you have some mayors that are really ultra liberal that are doing some crazy things out there nowadays.
To let people know, you can call into the show and voice your opinion here. The number's on the bottom of the screen here. 339-235-6774. That's 339-235-6774. We want your opinion. Call in. Your opinion matters. We're interested in hearing what the public has to say about this.
I've been reading some of the comments, and I agree with them wholeheartedly. One gentleman said, in 10 to 15 years, I think his name was Gomes, said the middle class will be gone pretty much, which there's some truth to that statement. There's an old saying, the rich get richer. The poor stay the same. They get a lot of government programs. I was reading someone else just posted elderly and disabled people get public transportation, which is a good thing to get around. But it used to be, the middle class is the backbone of our country. And without the middle class, the taxpayers, I mean, we're going to be in big trouble. And the government only has so much money to go around. I mean, we have trillions of dollars in debt, and the federal debt, and the state is pretty much bankrupt now. Cities and towns are going to be impacted with the federal funds and state funds dry up. So we got some serious problems ahead that we're going to have to deal with. It's not an enviable job to be a leader of a state. I'm telling you right now, it's going to get tougher and tougher, and the heat's going to be on these people. There is a program out there too. My wife is in the real estate business, but some of the federal vouchers they have is they give you like a $50,000 down payment if you meet certain income restrictions for down payment on a property. That's pretty lucrative, and they're giving housing vouchers out now for $30,000. They'll get you, a good year's worth of rent. But the problem is when the landlords see this, they vet them and screen them, and they'll say, not only the 30,000 is great, they'll get you through a year, but what do you have proof of income? We want to see your job history, and a lot of them don't have a job. So that's another problem that deals with some of these vacancies. Why the landlords aren't renting to some of the people if they have no substantial proof of income.
I personally think, with the housing situation, let's just talk about Section 8. What Section 8 should do, all right, give these people incentives to get off of Section 8. My idea of getting people off the system is to give them the system. So you have these people on Section 8. Disagree with me if you may. You have these people on Section 8 for many years. Instead of keeping them on many years, offer them a down payment assistance, and also offer them a mortgage assistance for 1 year. Either way, they're getting the assistance. So give it to them towards their home ownership. That way, they create this pride of ownership, of a property, and then they're going to strive to do better in life. When you keep someone on the system, it's just the gravy train never stops. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, you guys could disagree with me. Go ahead.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think it could be done. That has been done, like Mrs. Zakaro. That has been done, like in New York City back in the day. They had developers that they did the co-op situation, right? Right. Now, teach me again the trade-offs of the co-op situation of how that worked, because that did work because it allowed the people to pay rent to own. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So, are you familiar with it?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah. So basically, Hamilton, the co-op situation in New York was the city allowed people to pretty much rent to own their houses, their apartment units, and they were able to keep them, sell them for a certain. It had a cap of what they can sell them for, obviously, right? But they can transfer them down to their family or whatever. It was way better than Section 8. But it was actually they were actually able, if they want to sell it, they had a piece of something to move up. They had equity in something. It gives the people equity. So if the state would do something like that with all the apartment buildings, just turn them into condos or co-ops where people can pay to have equity in it, in the building or something, that could be done because it's done in New York and it's really successful.
Right. I mean, a lot of the political environment, they say, well, society is one of our responsibility to help people that need help. But I mean, you can only take it to a certain extent. And believe it or not, those are the people that vote for some of the more liberal politicians, the one that are on public assistance. But I got to tell you, I'm third generation in this country. My grandfather and grandmother on my father's side, they came from Italy. And my grandfather was, I think, 18 years old. Had any special skills or anything, but his parents said, go to America. That's where the opportunity is. So they came in by boat. They came over here. They came in through New York and customs, and then they all went to Boston, which was a major port. So he had to work with his hands, a pick and shovel, and he worked for, did some construction, and then they all moved out to Brockton. They had public transportation, and Brockton back then, where I grew up, was the shoe capital of the world. Until they lifted the tariffs on imports and all the factories closed down. But nothing was given to these people, nothing at all. They worked hard every day, blood, sweat, and tears. They worked with their hands, a lot of them. My grandfather never owned a car. Didn't have a license. He used to walk to work every day, 2 miles to work, 2 miles back. But he was healthy, and they had happy lifestyles, and they saved money. They knew how to save. In today's generation, I mean, I even see the kids today, they all get the latest cell phones and everything else. Everything is kind of handed to them. So I think it's inherent in today's society that a lot of people want things for nothing, which is unfortunate. It's kind of a big difference from the first generation, my family that came over. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but
I agree. I
yeah,
agree. People expect now.
right,
People expect. They expect.
right.
We're gonna go to the next slide here. If you guys can pay attention here for a second. Government planning, which is and housing, which is right up Donnie's alley, where local zoning favors single-family homes, housing, height, density, and parking limits restrict supply, and lengthy permitting increase cost. Donnie,
Yes.
can you elaborate on this before Richard does? Because this is
So
your cup of tea.
it goes in hand with what Richard said before about supply and demand, right? It's difficult to build new housing, right? So when you make it difficult to build, you would also reduce supply. You understand that? It's difficult to build in Boston already, right? So when you make it even more difficult to build in Boston, you reduce housing, which reduces supply.
Mm.
Right. So if you have less supply, right, that means what? Cost goes up.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
but it's all planned. It's all planned.
Mhm. Richard, government planning and housing, local zoning, a lot of local zonings favor single family homes in certain areas. And Donnie mentioned something earlier before the show started about the NIMBYism. What is NIMBYism? It's not in my backyard. Okay.
Right.
So basically, what NIMBYism is, towns don't, a lot of towns want autonomy and not allow more housing to be built, and they don't want a government telling their town what to do. Which I understand that situation, but there's two sides to the story. Can you talk a little bit about this, Richard?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the government programs, that's what 40B was all about in our state, to allow affordable housing and force communities for every new apartment complex or neighborhood to come in, that 20% of it has to be offered to affordable housing. And I said before, there's pros and cons, and that's great for the people that can't afford them, but the homeowners complain because it's bringing down their property values too. It's extremely difficult. I don't know how these kids do it today, honest to God. I mean, I mentioned my wife sells real estate, and you put 20% down on a home. The average home in Walpole, Boston now is close to $1 million, and it's getting more and more every year. You realize what the principal, interest, and tax payments are on that? It's like 5,000 a month. You have to be making about $250,000 a year combined family income just to afford this. It's getting out of control. I also blame the politicians because when the taxes go up, okay, I would like to see a state referendum that specifically states any surplus revenue left over from a town should be given back to the taxpayers. It's their money. they call that free cash. It's unrestricted cash. There's nothing free about that. It's tax money. So Charlie Baker, a few years ago, before he left as governor, we had $1 billion surplus in our state when he became governor, when he ended his term. So he gave everyone back a tax credit. I think it was about $750 actual checks they sent back. So I would love to see the people collectively get out there and get a referendum on the ballot that states specifically that any surplus cash left over, that a taxpayer's money funded by the taxpayers, get credited back to them, either by lowering their taxes or actually issuing a check back to them, which would help people afford, obviously, to rent apartments or buy homes with the excess cash. Why should the town keep that?
I think you make a valid point, and Donnie makes a valid point. But the focus that I want to talk about is the NIMBYism. We all want to help our brother and sister. We all want to be our brother's keeper, and so on and so forth. However, as long as it's not in our backyard, it's fine. I remember one time that when a lot of migrants went to Martha's Vineyard, we sit here and fight for migrants and so on and so forth. Everyone has a right to their own opinion. So when they were shipped to Martha's Vineyard, the NIMBYism happened. So it's okay to have migrants. However, as long as it's not in Martha's Vineyard or anywhere else, let's just send them someplace else and help them someplace else they can stay. So the NIMBYism is a big problem. And Donnie, talk a little bit about NIMBYism in your opinion, and then we're going to have Richard have his opinion on it. Go ahead, Donnie.
So pretty much, like you said, those towns, NIMBYism, those towns, Cape Cod, Brookline, Wellesley, Newton, these towns that.
Hold on, we got a call.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, you've called the Outsiders Podcast. How can I help you?
Yo, what's up, man? It's Joey.
How's it going, Joey?
All right, doing good.
What's up today?
Ain't nothing crazy, man. You know, just living life. But what's up to the fellas that's on the show? How y'all doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks for calling in.
How you doing?
Yeah, no problem. It's easy, guys. We could talk about all these local solutions. All great ideas. Co-op, all these other things. And, you know, the gentleman who was talking about you don't need a car if you live in Boston. You know, all great ideas. A fish rots from the head down. The government doesn't care. We got more money going overseas than we do in our own infrastructure. We've watched China take away manufacturing, which is basically the middle class. We've watched them do this. We've watched them give up intelligence. So locally, we can fight all we want. Push, pull. It's not a party that's going to save us. Democrats ain't going to save us. Republicans ain't going to save us. Because the system's already moving. The system's already moving. It just, what has to happen is a reset. There's no reset button, but that's what we need. People to be enforced out of their homes. Who cares? People are still making money. So it doesn't matter. Solutions don't matter without politicians who are willing to put something on the line. Nobody's willing to put nothing on the line. We vote people in, and they go halfway. They dip their toe in the pool. They say, nope, it's too hot in there. I tried, people. We need people that's going to jump in the pool. That's going to jump in and say, this ain't right. Bring awareness. Are they going to be shunned? Yes. Are they going to be outcast? Yes. What's going to end up happening to them? We already know. But the fact of the matter is, the people of this country don't control this country no more. That's the problem.
Question, Joey. You mentioned reset. Can you elaborate on that reset that you talked about?
Look, man, it's too many things. Look, if we look back, right, what happened to the great white flight from Boston? Why was that?
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Why was that? That was because Boston had hotels, Boston had ports, Boston is a major city, so Boston had certain sanitation needs, Boston had certain hospitality needs, caretaker needs, certain needs that the average influenced person wouldn't take. So now to have these people work these jobs, they have to live in a reasonable area so they can get to work. So everybody took off. That's a small sliver of it. That's a small little piece of it. You have everything that's led up to this cesspool. It's all been a cesspool. It's been a going cesspool. So therefore, the Great White Flight showed you when everybody left Boston to go to Randolph, to go to Canton, to go to Brockton, to go to all these other towns, they built these towns in isolation. But that isolation couldn't hold. So when that isolation can't hold, and then those towns start getting hit, it's another flight. But now it's not a white flight. It's every man for themselves off the boat flight.
I got to disagree with you on a little bit. Because it wasn't just a white flight. You see, you make it seem like it was just white people that just left. It was a lot of wealthy black people here in Massachusetts. This state had the most wealthy black people that lived here. You know, that owned houses also. They moved also.
It's not about white. It's not about white people.
It's about elite.
It's about the parallel is this. Let me explain it to you. The parallel is this. It's not the white people leaving. It's that the people now in Boston have to leave to live because something else is coming in. We can learn the lesson of what happened to Boston when that happened. Yes, Boston got in. Boston's diverse. Boston's everything. Cool.
That's policy, though. You have. I don't mean to cut you off, but I agree with you. But that's policy. When you have mayors and elected officials lobbying for another group of people to come in and listen, we're going to pay you this. We're going to give you incentive to rent to them and not the citizens, not the constituents.
And there go the deals that were cut for the big white. Like, I'm only using it as a parable of this is what
I got you. I understand.
I'm not saying because the white people left. I'm just saying that's what ended up happening, and this is repeating itself. So people are going to be forced out of their homes. It doesn't matter what the reasoning is. It's just matter that people are going to be forced out of their homes so they can live, so they can enjoy a retirement. Because the people that own their homes outright right now, it's basically cash out and leave, or we're just going to run you over. Slowly but surely, we're going to bleed you dry. So therefore, when you're fighting a system that doesn't have a limit, it's just an ongoing system, right? Politicians go and cut deals with these big companies to bring them in, these big tech companies, bring them in. Nah, y'all ain't got to pay us taxes. Nah, we're going to hook y'all up. Don't worry about it. Just bring it in. You're going to employ a lot of people. But the people that they're employing ain't none of them from Boston. They bringing them in from India, Asia, Silicon Valley, these high-end schools that are producing these groundbreaking students, right, who come to Boston, and what their salary is going to be what it is, because of that influx of money, which some of it falls in the politicians' pockets and nobody says nothing. The politicians are selling out Boston because they're cashing out themselves.
Kickbacks, yes. Yeah.
Well, there's 2 points that Joey was right on the money when he opened up his commentary. We're giving far too much money to foreign aid, far too much. I mean, America should
That's
be
what
first.
it is.
And also for
It's from the
Yeah.
top. Right.
right, and also for manufacturing too, we should be more oil independent. We have plenty of refineries. Don't rely on outside oil. Get it from our own sources. And we should also, I mean, our president tried with the tariffs, but that kind of backfired too, to encourage local manufacturing in our country. But give them some tax incentives to manufacture here. You know, the labor is much cheaper overseas, obviously, and he thought he was going to do that by putting tariffs on the products, but it kind of backfired on him a little. And
It won't work.
yeah, right.
Work.
But I mean, I couldn't agree with you, Joe, anymore about. I mean, we should cut all foreign aid off. Seriously, I mean, put the money back here into our country.
Listen, that is the reset. We got to
Right.
tell everybody to go screw
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah. But I mean, you have the ultra liberal though. They want an entire redistribution of the redistributing wealth in our country.
What we need to do with Massachusetts to really get that reset, to help that reset, spark that reset, would be to open up Plymouth and Seabrook again and start selling that natural energy back to the grid. That's the cheapest. We got to open our nuclear. The whole state is ready to run off nuclear energy. We got this solar and wind energy going up that's breaking the people and breaking the state. You know, you're getting way less.
I don't even think it's about energy anymore, man. Technology
Energy is
is
the way we make money. Energy is going to bring this state out of a deficit.
everywhere.
Excuse me?
Everywhere. It's not energy. We have the energy, we have the capability, we have everything. This is the United States of America.
Right.
Cut
I don't
everything.
think you lost my point.
Right.
And now, instead of having to have the strongest, we have the strongest military. Everybody's 15 years behind us. I don't care what anybody tells you, they're 15 to 20 years behind us.
Right.
Because
The other thing is AI.
20 years.
AI too. We partnered up with China $500 billion for AI. I don't know if you gentlemen been through a Wendy's lately, but you can't even talk to a real person. Everything's robotic now. Surgery's robotic. Cars are driving themselves around. So what's that doing to our workforce? I mean, we're being replaced by robots.
If this is back to the real estate, right, and the cost of housing, okay. If we get our energy back on par with selling nuclear energy back to the grid, that's gonna drop the housing prices, right? Because that means gas but everything's gonna be cheaper.
On energy, the more money we make on energy, the more money the houses are gonna cost. Because the big fish always eats the little fish. Listen,
No, that's not correct.
let me tell you why.
The cheaper the energy is, the cheaper everything else will be. That's just the fact. If I can sell, right? If I can sell a few units of electricity back to the grid for like 50 cents per watt, right? That's way better. Listen, that's way better than what they're doing now with the solar, which are only it's like costing us like $1. You understand? If I'm selling it for 50 cents, you understand what I'm saying? How can I break it down?
You could break it down by, okay, so right now you can look at it this way. And I hear what you're saying is that we could sell energy, That's fine if we sell energy.
Nuclear is cheap. Nuclear energy is cheaper than what I'm trying to say. Nuclear energy is cheaper than solar energy, right? You can way more power Because the state was nuclear. They just shut down our nuclear plants. That's why everybody's light bills are $400-500 a month when they should be $200 a month to heat a 4 or 5 bedroom, 3 or 4 bedroom apartment. It's $500 a month.
Yeah, this is what you have to understand though. Everything has a price. Everything has a price. So if we can go nuclear,
trade off.
I agree with you. I agree with you. We could go nuclear. In the process of going nuclear, we could destroy.
Go back nuclear. We're already nuclear. We just have to turn the switches back on. We turned them off.
Okay, so cool. Whatever. That's one solution. Here's another solution. Here's another solution. Instead of selling energy and all of this,
it subsidizes the state.
Why don't we actually, like I said from the beginning, a fish rots from the head down. So why don't we have a state who says, you know what? Federal government ain't doing this. Federal government ain't doing that. This is what we need. This is what we need. Get another couple of states, get another couple of people, go up there and say, yo, stuff's not right. We got to do it right. Nobody tries to do that because everybody plays status quo. Therefore, the reset. Because the reset can't have the same type of politicians. The reset can't have all the same. We can't just press reset, stop sending aid, and say, we're going to stop sending aid to every country in the world. We're going to fix our country first, and we'll get right back to you guys later when we can. Okay? And then come back with the same system and think it's going to work.
Well, the other problem we have is it should be term limits, no more than 2 consecutive terms, just like the president. I mean, these politicians come in, they're going to promise you the world for day one, and then they become entrenched with the politics and, lobbyists taking care of them. So two terms, that's it. No pensions. It's too lucrative for them now. They're there for life. Their life is. Some of the senators were 90 years old. They didn't even know their own name. They were still making decisions for the citizens.
The first thing that happens when you become a politician is during your reign, you're going to cut business deals that's going to set your family up for generational wealth because you're going to lean one way or you're going to lean another way. Either way, you're going to do it. Either way, you're going to have a bias, one way or the other. If you got bias for good, if you got bias for bad, if you got bias for personal gain, if you got bias to keep something in the closet, whatever, I don't care. This is what people don't understand. We're human. We're sending humans to go do a job. But when you give a human a job for a lifetime and he gets nice and comfortable in his seat, guess what happens? He don't want to move.
Right. It's like a Breakfast Club too. They put on a show for us, but when the camera's off, they go out and wine and dine with one another.
Listen, let me come home every single day and everything is done. And all I do is sit on the couch for 10 years. And then on that 10-year anniversary, when I walk in, and now I can't sit on the couch. I have to get up and go do this. You think I'm going to get up and go do that? No, I'm going to go sit on my couch.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't give a damn.
Hopefully it's a comfortable one.
Right. You could throw me and the couch in the garbage. I'm going to stay in my couch because I've been doing that for 10 years and it's been working. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't broke, don't fix it. It's broken, guys. It's been broken, and everybody knows it's broken. So what's happening? What do rats do? They fight for survival.
Yeah.
These politicians.
So much for the Constitution. Remember the words of our forefathers that founded the Constitution. Government for the people, of the people, by the people. That went out with George Washington, I think.
Part of the reset. It needs to be revised. We live in a different world. Our forefathers was able to see to a certain extent.
Right.
And us as humans have to say, wow.
I think our forefathers actually saw it to the fullest, but we got these new type commies in office in the state, these socialists, they're trying to rewrite everything the forefathers did.
Well, this is the thing. Politics needs to get away from the party system and be a community system.
That's not America. So you saying you against the Constitution?
No, that is America. What do you mean? For the people, by the people, of the people. And when I say a community thing, when we send our representatives to the top, when we vote someone in from Massachusetts and we send them up to the top, right? He don't got no more juice than the guy from Washington D.C., but the guy from Washington, D.C. don't got no more juice than him. And when he got questions, there's answers. Right now, it's status quo. It's party, not people. Our politicians are there to represent their party. They're not there to represent their people.
Right.
That's
Right.
that's what's messed up.
Yeah.
I'm only here to push an agenda because the rest of my buddies want to push this agenda. Instead of going back to your people and saying, listen, I don't give a damn about what the hell y'all doing over there. But what we doing over here is this.
Yeah, you're right. Basically, we have a two-party system. I mean, try getting elected I'm an independent personally. I used to be a Democrat for years, but after JFK and the conservative Democrats, they no longer stood for the working middle class. So I switched to independent, and in the primary you can vote for whatever party you want. But you're right. Try getting elected as an independent, a Green Party candidate for president of the United States. You need that party backing, the Republican money or the Democrat money. That's the only way you're going to get in, unfortunately. But I agree with you. I agree with you. There shouldn't be party system. There should be, based on.
You take money out of the campaign. The government pays for the campaign. For what the level of campaign it is, this is a set amount. He gets this, you get that. You can't spend no more. You can't spend no less. This is the budget. Go bet, may the best man win. There's a primary for the final two. The final two get this set budget and go ahead and do your thing. You could only fundraise this way. You can't have a donation from one major company that just opened up in your little municipality. Because you want to wink them.
I still think we need to.
Unions got to get the hell out of politics.
Right.
Unions got to get the hell out of politics and let every man go vote for themselves. My job shouldn't tell me how to vote. My job shouldn't tell me how to vote.
Exactly.
My job is my job. I go to work. You pay me for my work. You don't pay me for my vote. You pay me for my work.
I agree with you, but I think that's kind of changing now. I know some union people that they were pressured, you get credits for backing this politician versus that one. But that's the leadership of the union. I think the average working union person is starting to change, and they're starting to say, don't tell us how to vote. You can tell us what job we're going to work on, but don't tell us how to vote anymore. I think you're getting a backlash right now. But then again, the unions raise certain politicians big money, the front offices. I mean, you have lobbyists out there, obviously, that are raising, representing different countries, different businesses that are taking care of the politicians through PAC money and all that stuff.
But this is the problem. We have politicians who those lobbyists are just going to fund money to, and they're just going to walk away from what's good and righteous. Because I'm going to tell you guys something right now.
That's right.
I'm speaking to you gentlemen right now. But if somebody comes up to me, and I'm Hamilton's friend, right? I am Hamilton's friend. We grew up together. He could tell you a history another time. But I will tell you something right now. If somebody came up to me and said, Joe, I'm going to hand you $1 million to say Hamilton is the most no good person you ever met in your life, guess what I'm going to be calling Hamilton? I'm going to call him a no good person, and on social media, I'm going to click him out from here to the moon, but guess what I'm going to do after that? Me and Hamilton are going to go sit down and have the finest steak in the world.
And you split the $1 million with them.
You see, I won't split the million with him. It's my million. I'm sorry. I'll take care of my buddy. I'll take
Well, at least get him a steak dinner.
care of I'll take care of my buddy, so my true friend will understand.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Man. Boston politics is slimy like that. That's really how it is. You
Yeah,
know what
but
I'm
you
saying?
see, and
Boston, my man, it's not Boston politics. This is the game of politics. The whole political, everything, both sides of the aisle, everything. It's not just these guys and those guys. It's the whole damn thing. Anybody
I don't slime anyone, and I don't plan on ever sliming anyone. G.
Anybody, I know that, but that's what I'm saying. But it makes you do that,
right. Well, you know where the big money is. The Campaign Reform Act limited individual contributions, but they get around that with PAC money and the party, what they give you. That's the big problem there. The PAC
Everybody
money.
goes into politics to make a difference. Nobody goes into politics because they think it's the most lucrative or whatever. Everybody knows the fastest way to make money is real estate. Everybody knows that. Okay? So people that go into politics, they go into politics with good, genuine hearts when they're young. But when they get inside of the game and they see how the game is played and they see the opportunities that they have to advance their futures, they're human. They're human.
And they make millions of dollars in playing the stock market. They're privy to all inside information that drives the stock. We'd be in jail if we did that. If we got that information, we'd be in jail.
I'm a politician. I got a buddy that wants to open up a company, but he needs this bill to pass for him to do what he needs to do. I'm gonna go lean on the rest of the politicians and say, "Hey, listen, man. As a courtesy, this is what's on the table for all of us. A little piece of it, nothing crazy. If it's a $1 billion business, they just set their families up for the rest of their life on 2%, on 1%. Come on, guys, we're human. I'm gonna expect humans to make human mistakes, but don't make a human mistake and then come lie to me and tell me you're not doing that. That's what politicians are accustomed to doing. That's what the party is accustomed to doing. It's more about what the flavor of the month is for the party. Crap that. You got farmers who can't hold back 5% of their crop so they could see their crop next year. The government come and tell them, no, we taking the seeds. What kind of crap is that? What kind of crap is that?
Yo.
You know, there's laws that you can't catch rainwater. You can't catch rainwater. There's laws on the books that you cannot catch rainwater if you're a farmer. So you can't put a bucket outside and catch rainwater.
Catch rainwater in the city right now. They just passed a law. He passed a law with stormwater last year that I was working on with the BPPA.
It's countrywide.
Check this out. They just said that they're trying, but they put a hold on it right now because I threw a wrench in the gear. So what they want to do is they want the people to buy stormwater infiltration systems and bury them tanks and bury them under their house to catch the stormwater, because they're saying that the runoff is causing floods all over the city, and it's like DSOs and GSOs toxins that are flowing, you know. And so they want to tax you if you don't get this system built in your house in like a year or two. Okay, they want to do this.
Blame them.
And so what happens is you can only buy the system from two companies that they tell you can buy the system from, which is crazy.
And guess what politicians push those laws to go in? The politicians that just set their families up. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but the right now it's on a hold up right now, because I actually added in that the people should be able to use bioswales and just natural ways of natural land manipulation, like they do in other countries, you know, in the Midwest. You know, they write swales and rain gardens, you know, in your backyard instead of putting in.
What Joey's talking about, in economics, he's discussing it from the macro approach, top down versus micro bottom up. So it all starts at the top, right, Joey?
Look, that's basically what's happening. When you sit there and you look at everything from afar and you say, okay, the government is going to the farms, taking control of their seeds, letting them know how much they could grow, when they could grow, how they could grow, who they could sell to, what to do, what to this and that. Okay, cool. But now, what the government is doing is just lying to us.
I know. You know who's buying all the farmland in our country too? China. China's buying all the farmland. That goes back to your first point. No more foreign aid.
China, why wouldn't China do it? Why is a foreign land buying American land?
TTP fast track. That was Obama back in the day. When he signed that TTP fast track bill that allowed foreign countries to buy land and businesses in America.
I told you guys, this thing isn't a blame to one or the other. That's just how the game was being played.
Right.
We are in.
Fast track was put on.
The train is rolling, my man. The train is rolling, and every president that hits that seat gets in the train.
Yeah.
We ain't never gonna have a president that ain't gonna get in the train. We ain't never gonna get politicians that ain't gonna get in the train. The trains are gonna pull up. The doors are gonna open. They're gonna walk into the train. I
am proud of what Trump's doing right now. He ain't. I don't know. His. I like his train, and he got the best train.
Dude. And guess what happens if they buck the system? Guess what happens to them?
I'm telling you something right now. Okay, a corrupt system has nothing to do but annihilate itself. It has nothing to do but annihilate itself. It's already corrupt. It's already
got no what you call no hope for the country? No optimism?
What optimism? They do it blatantly in our face.
I asked you if you had any optimism for the country. It's
getting worse. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. This is what people don't understand. It's getting worse. And I'm not saying I'm not optimistic. I'm still optimistic.
I think it's getting worse for those progressives in place right now. Because if I was Ayanna Pressley or any one of them, I'd be worried about that indictment.
I fix things for a living, my man. And when you fix things, either the parts are good or they're not. We're running on a motor with bad parts. How long do you think that motor's gonna run?
Good point.
How long do you think that motor's gonna run? This is the kick the can mentality. Oh, there's hope.
Yeah, we all know who runs the world. Who runs the world? The Federal Reserve Bank and the 8 top wealthiest families in the world. They're the one that pulls the puppet string. They run everything.
Listen, there's levels to this thing. I told you. When no politician goes into politics with bad intentions. They all want to make a change. They want to fight for their hometown. They want to be a good guy. They want to go down in history. And guess what? When somebody comes with the check and they say, no, I don't want the check. You know what happens? They throw a 0 on the back end of it. And then they come back with the same check. Now they look at the check.
Marxists go into politics. Marxists come into politics to ruin what this country was built on. So you got no Marxists like Ayanna Pressley, no Marxists like Mary Wu, no Marxists like Maura Haley, no Marxists like Ed Markey. These people are all against the country and the foundation of this country. Okay?
It's not about the country and the foundation. See, everybody wants to talk about wants to label everybody.
What is it about then if it's not about this country and foundation then?
Here's an idea.
Anarchist vibes right now.
Here's an idea. Why don't we just stop labeling everybody and trying to prove everybody wrong?
Nobody's labeling. It's just what it is.
But I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is this: why don't we just try to put good people in? What happened to the
Nobody's good, brother. Only God is good. You know that? You gotta put accountable people in. We
So
gotta
how do you win if
put
nobody's
morals in.
good? You asked me for optimism. But
You
now
talk about good people, bro. There's no such thing as good people. That's only God is good. You gotta put people that have
no,
accountability.
my man,
You gotta make mistakes.
it's not about only God is good. It's not only about God is good. This has nothing to do with God. You said if I had optimism, I say, yeah, I have optimism in people that I know, and people that are good people, and people that are decent minded, and people that are you know, and people that are like minded and practical. Okay, cool, right? But this is what I'm saying. Instead of going for good people, with voting into systems that are systems, they don't give a shit about people.
I'm not for identity politics anyway. You know what I'm saying?
They're not for people. They're not for people. It's a system. It's going. That's what it is. And when something's already broken, it's already broken. And when something's already corrupt, it's corrupt. And when something is bad, it's bad.
This is advocacy policy. That's another thing that we don't need. Like, we need more people to come in with structure that understand what a master plan is, and not no advocacy politics. That's like identity politics and advocacy politics. It's what's ruining Massachusetts. This was ruining our country.
Look, man, I'm trying to tell you something. The reset is more than just stopping with foreign aid.
Yo, the reset would be to reset these people and have them turn on them nuclear power plants again, so we can start selling this money, getting this money, selling this energy back to the grid. Okay, subsidizing the whole state, and everybody's lowering everybody's.
But that's just feeding the beast. That's just feeding the beast. You know that? Selling it back to the grid. Who makes money off of the sale of the grid? Who makes money off of the sale of the grid?
The state does, but every time I talk, you cut me off, though. I let you talk for like 5 minutes at a time. I get the crack and you start like cutting me off, bro.
No, but I only asked you when you said sell the money to the grid. I said, who we selling it to? Who makes the money off?
To Canada. You can listen. The grid. You can sell power to Canada. We were selling them power and oil and everything else. So we sell it to Canada. They're getting raped right now with energy prices. Okay, that's a country. We can sell it to Mexico. We can sell it across the pond to UK. Right? Our whole infrastructure is built on nuclear, and these commies shut it down so we can freaking put up windmills and solar panels, which is primitive technology compared to what we already had.
Question, Donnie. What's wrong with solar panels and windmills?
It's primitive. It's less efficient. It's not as efficient. It's not as clean. It's not as clean as nuclear. It's really filthy. It kills birds. It kills fish. You know, in those big old poles, when they're out of commission, you can't. You can't destroy them. You have to put them in because they're toxic. You have to put them in a special place. You see. Now, if it was nuclear, now they say nuclear waste. No such thing as nuclear waste, because nuclear waste gets recycled now. You know, it's called SMR reactors using thorium. MIT just made history like last year and this year, you know? And so if we get back to selling our energy, which Massachusetts is known for energy, oil, fracking, and nuclear back in the day, that's why 3 years ago, everybody's light bill was $100 a month. And if it was $100, like, dang, I got to turn that down. Hit triple digits.
I've seen a trend lately. Now that I'm retired, I work part-time at a golf course, and a lot of these surrounding golf courses are being bought out. I'm talking for like $26 million, and BlackRock, with venture capitalists and investors are coming in, they're making them all into solar farms for the tax write-offs.
Wow.
And you know what, the solar farm, see, this is the thing, as a planner, this is what happens. The solar farm, right? That land is now null and void. You can't use so They buy the land, right? Acquire the land and put the solar panels on there, so nobody can use the land anymore because they don't want anybody to build on the land. Because you move the solar panels, you cannot build on the land anymore. The land is you can't, okay? It's torn up. It's done.
Yeah, and they use them for tax shelters too.
So that's how they're using these solar panels to usurp land also.
Right.
So people can't build and buy.
Joey, still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What are your thoughts on this, Joey?
Look, I asked a question and I said, who makes the money off of the energy? See, I see.
Who makes the money? Whoever owns the plant, okay, it makes the money, right? Whoever owns that plant or reactor makes the money. Now, technology is so ill right now. If they allow us, you can actually buy an SMR reactor for your house and sell energy back to the grid, right? It's called. There's a company in Germany, company in Russia that makes these small reactors the size of a igloo cooler, right? And they're powerful enough to heat up all of Cambridge. They can fire up all of Cambridge. You understand that,
dude?
These reactors, these people.
So let me ask you a question. This is funny. You think I want a nuclear reactor in my house?
See, because you don't understand. See, that's not funny. Because
no.
What's funny is the ignorance now. Okay, don't say what's funny because you don't know what it is. It's an SMR reactor, okay, and it uses thorium, which is new technology, like I said, which is not deadly at all. You see, so you gotta see. So this is why you got me over here, and I'm trying to teach the people.
I'm asking you a question.
He's asking you a question, Don.
I'm trying to teach you.
Pay attention, Don.
So my man, check it out. If I don't know something and I ask you a question of having a nuclear reactor in my house, what is strange about asking that question?
That's scary. Nuclear doesn't.
People afraid of. I don't know about the new technology. I don't know.
3 Mile Island and Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island. That was
listen. The world nuclear don't listen. Nuclear,
right? Propaganda made everybody scared of nuclear.
That's not propaganda, man.
That's propaganda. Propaganda made everybody afraid of nuclear.
My man, what could kill the earth is nuclear, right? What could kill the earth is nuclear.
Water can kill the earth.
Right? Everybody says. So once you say the word nuclear, guess what? I don't want my 3-year-old kids playing on a reactor that's mounted to the back of my house. That's
just ignorance because it doesn't work like that. These are saltwater reactors that use thorium. They don't use uranium. They use common sense.
Hold on, guys. Time out. We're getting off track with the subject matter.
What I'm saying is, who makes the money off the energy? Making the money off the energy.
The people are making money off the energy. Why? Because the nuclear. These plants are subsidizing the whole state. They're subsidizing everybody. Businesses, residences, everybody.
Time out, guys. Time out.
You gotta. Look at the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois is 100% nuclear. The state of Illinois on a 5-bedroom house, they're paying on average $100 a month, $150 a month on their light bill.
Time out, guys. Time out. I'm sorry.
And every morning they wake up to gunfire and people getting shot on their steps.
You talking about Chicago? Boston's the same way, brother.
Time out, guys.
Oh, man, it's a screw system, bro. The whole thing.
I think he got a point across.
All right. Let's get back on track, guys. All right. So the discussion was government planning and housing. Okay, we talked about NIMBYism. Right. Okay,
and what he's saying is nuclear can help that, but what I'm saying is, who makes the money? You think everybody individually is going to come?
Nuclear subsidizes the whole state. You want to know who's bringing in the bag? Whoever's bringing in the bag is a man who planned the reactor. Those people, okay,
right?
And the state.
Where does that leave the middle class, though?
They're working at the reactors. What are you talking about? Those are 24-hour.
We get a cheaper light bill. Okay. We pay $100 for electricity. Food costs are still where it's at.
No, it's
Car
not. It's
insurance
cheaper.
is where it's
House food cost still where it's at. When if you're paying $100 for the bill, right? And Star Market and Stop and Shop, that means their energy bills going down. So that means your cost of meat and groceries go down because they don't have to pay that much.
You think Stop and Shop base their prices on how much energy they put out? They
Yes, bro. Yes, everybody does. Yes.
no.
Time out. We're gonna
No
talk
way.
about Joey.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about the MBTA communities laws. Okay, and I want Donnie to start first. Pay attention, because what's happening is the MBTA law is expanding their housing supply throughout the suburbs and so on and so forth. People that want to build 1 mile radius around a T stop will get a permit by right to build a multifamily unit, and a lot of towns are opposing this. They're claiming that they need autonomy on their city, and also the state is pushing this on the cities. It's either you do it or you get in trouble or you get fined or whatever. But the cities are fighting back, saying it's their city; they should be able to choose whatever they want to do. What do you think about this, Joey? I'll give you the first bid on this, and then Rich is going to talk, and then Donnie. Go ahead,
Okay.
Joey.
Basically, check it out. The MBTA is the oldest transportation system in the nation. We know that. Okay. The infrastructure has always been a little lacking, but decent. It's always been a little lacking, but decent. It's cool. So the MBTA right now needs riders. And they're going to push for people to live right next to the station so these people can commute in and out, get to their jobs, and they're going to pay their money. And they say, hey, they're doing the numbers. They see it helping the MBTA stay where it's at or try to hopefully get to a point where they're at least at break even and the state doesn't have to bail them out every 5, 6, 7 years and so forth and so on. Okay, cool. But the town, what's in it for the towns? Now, the towns are going to get property taxes. The towns, and what are they fighting? What are the towns fighting? I'll tell you what they're fighting. Diversity. When you hear subsidized housing, you think of a lower class person.
Is there anything wrong with that though? Because it's in their bylaws though.
Hold
Is there
on.
anything wrong with that?
It's Rich's turn first.
No, I'm just asking a question.
Okay.
Is there anything wrong with a town not wanting diversity? Or you know what I'm saying? Is there anything wrong with that? Seriously.
What world do we live in now?
We live in a world where you can have that on your bylaws. Like Brookline just had that on their bylaws. You know, they didn't let black people own houses in Brookline. That was in the town of Brookline's bylaws, you know. But I'm just saying, like, you know, what they're trying to say is these towns are saying we don't, like Brookline saying, any town that says we, like Massachusetts, Boston, we don't want you to have a gas stove. That's the same saying. We don't want black people in an area, right? Because gas stoves are cheaper than electric stoves, right? So
no.
Listen, yes. That's the way of planning and saying we don't want this certain class of people.
I'm not going to do that, man. My man, I'm not going to do that.
I just did it, bro. I just did it.
I'm not, and
did it,
my man. That's a little bit.
Towns like Brookline are saying we don't want triple deckers. We don't want multi units. Because yes, it does bring. It does. We don't want Section 8. We don't want to do.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? These towns that don't want triple deckers, if I could explain to you why they don't want triple deckers, can you then?
They don't want Section 8 people in their town.
Wait a minute. Before we get to that part of it, if I could explain to you why they don't want triple deckers, right, in a logical way, can you at least consider it? You don't have to accept it, but can you at least consider it? If I could explain to you in like literally 30 seconds. So if your hip is this, most of these towns out here, right, they run on septic. They don't have sewer systems. That means they don't have the infrastructure to hold triple deckers. That's structural. It has nothing to do with the black man. It has nothing to do with because they want to keep black people
Here's
out.
what town you talking about now. Now every town's not running off sector. We talk about the
Listen,
towns with the MBTA flows through. Those towns are up to
Man.
par. I'm sorry,
My
those
man, I'm
towns
trying
up
to
to
tell you,
par.
it ain't got nothing to do about the town up to my man. It don't got nothing to do with the town. It has to do with under the town.
I just said that, man. Like, yo, some of the towns that have MBTA, like Brookline, Newton, those towns, we're not talking about towns like Rehoboth. If you want to talk about, we're not talking about those towns. We're talking about towns like Brookline, Newton, that have strong infrastructure underneath, that have sewer systems. These towns. Let's talk about those towns.
Newton is not going to play ball because Newton has his own little thing going on, and it doesn't want interference from nobody. That's it. Newton has what it's got going on. You ever drive in Newton? You ever see the roads in Newton? The worst roads in Massachusetts are in Newton. And I spend every freaking day of my life driving these roads. The worst roads in Massachusetts are in Newton. Take a ride.
I work for Feeney, brother. I agree with that. I work for Feeney. They're horrible.
Oh, okay then. So while you're praising Newton, right?
No one's praising Newton. So don't say I'm praising Newton. But Newton should be able to say, listen, these are in our bylaws. We don't want these type of houses in our town. They should be able to say that. They're a town. It's in their bylaws. They should be able to say that. They shouldn't be able to be forced, okay? But now I'm going to play devil's advocate. If they voted for end Title 40, if most of those people are progressive in that town, then you should get it. You should have the housing.
Okay. So if the MBTA said, you know what, we're not going to service Newton, we're going to go around Newton, screw Newton. Y'all are off the grid. Would that be fair?
The MBTA can do whatever they want to do.
No. Would that be fair to the people that pay their taxes in Newton? You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, bro.
NBA can do. I just said NBA can do whatever they want to do.
Okay, Newton don't want to cooperate with the MBTA, and the MBTA says, you know what, screw you. We're going to build around you. But guess what? There's not going to be a train stop. There's not going to be a bus stop in Newton. There's not.
They wouldn't do that because MBTA is not dumb. They're about that bread. What they would do is say, you know what? We're going to still build on our land. We're still going to build on our land.
Oh, man. You're telling me how Newton has all this power you're telling me how Newton has all this power, right? They want all this power, right? They want all this power.
I didn't say that. I didn't say they had all this power. I never said that.
They're refusing it because of their town bylaws. It's in their bylaws.
Bylaws, yes. You got to respect that.
Okay, so it's in the bylaw of the town. So why can't something be changed to accommodate the greater good?
It got to be voted on. It has to be voted on by the town and planners of that town. You just can't force people to do something because like eminent domain. You can't just force people. Oh, we're gonna put this 95 through Roxbury and kick all y'all out of the South End. Yeah, right. Mel King said, yeah, get out of here. You got to come down to a vote and do it the right way. Just because it's for the greater good of the people, you sound like Mandami.
Let me ask you a question. Did 93 still go right through the South End or not?
Yo, it's on 95, man.
All right, guys. We only have.
It ain't work.
Time out, guys. We only have about 10 minutes left on the show. I'm gonna have Richard, based on what we're talking about. Hear your opinion.
I put some light on so you can see me now. I was in the dark before.
Hold tight. Don't hang up. I want to hear what Richard has to say about all this.
Well, I think first of all, it was kind of Joey's point. It was a great reset. I think this came from Obama with his urban redevelopment across the country, but yet he lives in two mansions, one in Nantucket, 13 million, 25 million, the other one in Hawaii. But I mean, the old saying, don't do what I do what I say. But it's up to the local cities and towns. Like, for an example, there were two communities. Milton voted against it. And I think it was Marshfield and Duxbury voted against it. And part of their reason for voting against this, that it would be an influx of people where their services would really have to be expanded. I mean, a strain on school systems, public safety, infrastructure, roads, and everything. But then, even though they voted against it, I think it's in court. I think the governor is suing those communities and taking it to court, almost forcing them to do it. So, it's a catch-22 situation. I mean, Walpole here, we have Amtrak that comes through. Amtrak goes, from Boston all the way down to the South Shore. We do have MBTA busing that stops. It's the last stop is Walpole. But obviously, we don't have the train system here yet. I don't know if it's economically feasible or not to bring it in, but that's basically my opinion on it. And I think it should be obviously up to the individual towns. And I think it goes out to a referendum with the majority vote, too, of the people, if they want it or not.
Joey.
Yeah.
What's your take on this?
That's fine. A town can vote not to have it. I'm not taking a vote from a town, their bylaws or nothing. That's fine. But then, if the MBTA says, you don't want to play ball with us, we're not going to service the town.
Right. Yeah, they bribe them. They cut them. They threaten them with aid. Exactly.
It's the system, man. The system is going to move. The big fish eats the little fish. That's what the whole concept is. And this is for the greater good of Massachusetts. Transportation and diversity in your city. You can fight it. You can do whatever the heck you want to do with it, but it's coming.
So,
and it's coming on the wave. And anybody who doesn't see it coming, guess what? You keep waiting for that light at the tunnel to be the end of the tunnel. It's a train, and it ain't slowing down.
Well, we're going to move on to the next topic. Thank you, guys. Market forces beyond government. Okay. We have the strong job growth in healthcare, biotech, and education, high construction and labor costs, investor demand for multifamily housing. So this is beyond the government control sometimes. Donnie,
Yes.
can you elaborate on what I just said? And then we're going to have Joey rebuttal. And
So you said beyond market forces,
beyond government control.
I
What?
don't think it's beyond government control. I don't think that, because I just said I just spent most of this podcast saying that it was government that planned. You understand?
Right.
The high market, the high housing, the housing rate. They planned the traffic, MBTA crisis. They planned all this. The immigration. They planned this to happen. So
Right.
it's not beyond the government. When we ended Title 42, that helped everything. That lit a fuse. That lit a fuse on a lot of like inappropriate spending.
Okay. Joey, what do you have to say about that?
Man, look, most of the time, we can point to this bill, that bill, whatever, to blame directly and indirectly for things failing, for things falling apart, for things succeeding, for things whatever. Okay, cool. But I don't think people realize we have enough technology in this world where we could do anything pretty much damn near that we want. It's already here. It's in the world, right?
Okay.
Pay your
Richard.
fair share. Work hard. That's the message. Pay your fair share. Work hard and do what you do. Don't look for a reason not to do what you need to do. Don't look for a reason why the next guy is doing that. It's a rat race.
You sound like you for open borders. That sound like some open borders, like Kumbaya type. That ain't gonna work in this country. That ain't gonna work in no other country.
Okay, so if it's not gonna work with the country, then here's a $64 million question. You see what I'm saying? What's the solution other than just selling energy and making one company rich?
He said, "What's the solution to other just sell?" Yo, listen, you could just sell energy all day. What you need? That could be the solution right there. This country, this state could be a powerhouse in energy on the East Coast, like it was before Maura Healey got in the
Guys, let's stay on track here. So I'm gonna let Richard take charge on this one. Okay, who feels the most impact of all this? Renters and first-time home buyers, middle-class income households, seniors and municipal workers, or do the landlords feel the impact? Who feels the most impact based on what we discussed here, Richard?
I'd say quick answer to that, all of the above. Just like on an exam, all of the above. They're all affected at a certain degree.
Okay.
But getting back to your last slide there, I just want to get my input real quickly. I start off by saying our Constitution was built on government for the people, by the people, of the people. It always should come down to the majority of the people, the voters in a certain community that elect the politicians who run that. In a perfect utopia world, the politicians should reflect the vote of the people. So it's up to them what they want in their own town. I mean, you're gonna obviously gonna be driven by economic and social policies as well, but it should come down to the people. That's a quick comment I wanted to give in the last slide. But this slide here, it's all the above is my answer. It impacts everybody.
All right, Donnie. So on to the next slide, local trade-offs. Let's talk about neighborhood character versus housing availability, where we have local control versus regional housing needs, the cities versus the state. And then we have short-term opposition versus long-term affordability. Elaborate on this because we don't have much time left on the show, and be quick.
This is where you go back into NIMBYism, pretty much.
Yeah.
Local control versus regional housing needs. So local control is telling us
Good boy.
one thing, but the housing needs is saying another thing. They're saying that we have a housing crisis, but we really don't have a housing crisis, right? There's a lot of empty, open apartments, in the city, right? It's just people can't afford them. A lot of people can't afford them, so they're getting priced out. Could you bring that slide back up, please?
The other one, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's short-term opposition versus long-term affordability. I feel for short-term opposition, if you talk about renters, it goes back to renters are moving out. People are hopeless when it comes to renting in the city of Boston and buying homes right now, and for the long-term affordability, the people who are stable and have the houses, they're shaking in their boots every night. Every night they're shaking the boot. Am I going to have the money next month to pay my mortgage? I hope nothing breaks down. I hope the furniture is going to be good. I hope that the HVAC unit is good. They're worried, right? Because they got to save that money every month for that $10,000, $11,000 for the taxes coming around next season.
Mm.
You see?
Okay.
So they're afraid of foreclosure. They're in fear of foreclosure. Lots of people in fear of foreclosure right now.
Okay. And Richard,
Yes,
I'm going to talk about potential paths forward. Okay. Zoning reform and missing middle housing, faster permitting processes, and transit-oriented development. As far as the MBTA platform and the MBTA laws, they're allowing for people to get permits by right, as long as you're 1 mile radius away from a train station. And this is the whole idea behind the MBTA law is to build these complexes near train stations so lesser people have to drive. That's one of the mindsets. And they want more people to ride the public transportation. So you still there, Richard? I think we lost him. But Donnie, see if you can answer this question. What are your thoughts on the potential paths forward with respects to the permitting? the zoning and permitting process, and transit-oriented development, focusing on the train.
I think we have to push hard on these zoning commissions and these planners. I think we need to call them out and really speak to them, because there's no reason why we should have a build limit in the city of Boston in certain places. You know, people should be able to build over 3 units, over 4 units, you know, in certain places. But there's a cap, there's a limit. And I would love to work with the zoning commission as a plan and restructure that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that'll help build more, build more apartments, more affordable apartments.
Yes, yes. So to finalize this show, we're going to talk about some key takeaways. Basically, to conclude the show, we talked about housing affordability is a regional challenge. Local policy decisions strongly shaped outcomes. Civic engagement plays a critical role. As a key takeaway, I think, me personally, housing is a problem in Massachusetts as a whole, and especially in Boston. My personal opinion is, you have people that work in the Boston areas, that have to be in the Boston areas, that are police officers, teachers, nurses, municipal workers, state workers. You're obligated to work in the city. I think there should be some type of subsidy for them to stay in the city and to survive. Because someone, like I said before, someone that works 40 hours a week, 40 hours a week, deserves to survive. I mean, they shouldn't have to work 80 hours to survive.
Amen, my brother.
And basically, that's my key takeaway. And also, there has to be more civic engagement in society, in Massachusetts, in Boston. People just don't vote. People just don't participate in the civic engagement process. People just don't care, and then they complain about Richard is back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a power surge here.
Yeah, I understand.
Talking about the companies and energy companies.
So we're talking about the key takeaways here.
I agree with you. The last comment I just retuned it, but I agree with you. People aren't involved. It's pretty pathetic. On local elections, we have 13% of the voting population actually show up and vote.
Yes. And that's the main issue. And
Right.
I think 13%, the leaders, the political leaders, they're going to abide by the 13%, not the 100%.
Exactly, and they all have skin in the game. That's the people that are voting there, the people that work for the city, making big salaries, their friends, relatives. That's who's voting, and I don't know why it's voter apathy. I mean, could be to Joey's point that people are starting to realize it doesn't matter who we vote for anymore.
Yes.
They're all the same.
People are disconnected. Yep.
Yeah, disconnected. Yeah.
From politician. So when you're disconnected from the politician and life is bearing down on you, you don't have time to worry about your state representative. You got to worry about putting food on the table.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the problem. That's what I mean. There needs to be a reset. Get money out of politics. Get all these unions out of politics. Let's go back to a people vote. I'd say you dump the electoral college. We have enough people. You count the people. Who got the more votes? You win. Period.
I have a good solution. Why don't the three of us all get together and run? We'll form a coalition here, and I'll run for office. I tried it many, many times.
Thank you, guys. We're out of time. Thank
All right,
you.
well,
Richard.
thank you for the invite. I enjoyed.
Thank you so much.
And
thank you for your time.
yes.
Donnie, I bet we got more things in common than that. Rich, thanks.
And Donnie, you look great in a military outfit, and thank you, sir, for serving our country. You're amazing.
Yes. Well,
I
thank
didn't
you
know you was
guys.
a vet. Thanks for your service,
Tune
bro.
in for the next.
And Buzzy says goodbye too. This is my watchdog here.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Good job. Nice talking with you.
Woo! Have a good night, guys.
All right, you too. Take care now.